Well, not exactly. It is the Thursday edition of the Morning Dish. We're brought to you today by Rose Auto, the place to get all the accessories for your ride. You could reach them at 706-745-7134. Rose Auto Accessories. And I got Rob sitting in for Steven. And did you bring reinforcements?
I did. Sherry's here, sitting in for Packy. So
Holy cow.
that's why Steven's not here. You heard Sherry was going to be here, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm not getting my butt kicked again."
I am truly surprised that he's not here this week, given the election was this week, because I know that he was just ecstatic the day after, the morning after. So
I know he's missing out, right?
Let me tell you my little election story. He called me 4 times yesterday. Three times I did not answer. So finally I answered, and I knew what was coming. He was gloating.
I told you so. I told you.
Yeah.
I told you.
Exactly.
I feel kind of bad for Harry. He looks very distraught.
Like his dog died or something.
I know.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I will have to say this. I was very upset about a local election. I'm not going to get into it too deep, but I cannot believe that Union County did not vote Lamar Parrish in again.
It's amazing.
That is just tragic for Union County.
I think Stan Gunter said it earlier that it was just a Trump wave election.
It was, and you have a lot of new folks, I imagine, in Blairsville.
We get about 2,000 new voters every election cycle.
And they just voted straight ticket, I guess. I don't know.
You know, I was guilty. When I lived in Gwinnett, I would go vote for president and governor and senators, and I knew who I wanted to vote for, and I knew who the candidates were. But I would get down to the local stuff, to a school board race or a magistrate judge, and I had no idea who those people were, so I just voted R because I'm a Republican. And I think a lot of people did that in this case, sadly, because Lamar is not a liberal Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a conservative person with conservative values. But like Barack Obama said, the one thing he ever said that I agreed with, elections have consequences. And I guess my advice to Union County, well, you got to start paying attention to what's going on now. Because
to every county. I mean, if you don't think that your local politics are important, I learned this lesson a long time ago in Texas. You've got to research your local politics. You move to a new area, you better find out what's going on and who's doing a good job, because you're going to make a huge mistake.
But this new commissioner's office is going to want to look into doing things like dismantling the golf course. And not taking care of Meeks Park.
To what end is that?
To save tax dollars. The whole driving force is to save tax dollars.
Now, let me get this straight. Is Union County not debt-free?
And
thank you to who? To who?
To Lamar Parrish, yeah.
It's debt-free.
Yep. Debt-free. Second lowest millage rate out of 159 counties. I know. I'm just telling you. So it's the same group that wants the 5 commissioners, Patrick, the circus.
I come from a county that has that, and I'm going to tell you, folks, you better think. You really think.
Better think twice, right?
Again, it has consequences.
Right.
Well, I got a suggestion where people need to start when they are trying to educate themselves about local officials.
Yes.
It would be good if you could figure out what their last name is when you send in emails complaining about them. Because I was trying to figure out who Commissioner Parrish was.
Yeah, I don't know Commissioner Parrish.
Parrish.
Yeah, there's no H.
I have no idea who that was,
Well, it's the same people that get on social media and just spout off stupidity and insults and ugliness with no basis and attack other people for no reason. I mean, I see it every single day.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, but the good news is Donald Trump won. So, it was a mixed emotion night, Tuesday night for me. I will say congratulations to Harold Collins. He won fair and square, and I hope you do right by the county is all I have to say. So, but Donald Trump, and that was fantastic. I've been listening to your show, Patrick, this morning and yesterday. And one thing I think you guys have missed is I'm celebrating what I hope is the death of identity politics.
Yeah.
Because guess who voted for Donald Trump and won this election for him? Hispanics in droves, and he almost doubled his support in black males. And, I was watching this CNN panel yesterday, and the woman said, I'm not even comfortable talking about Hispanics because we don't have one here on the panel representing the community. You nitwit. Are you kidding me? Anyway, you know what? It doesn't matter what racial identity you are or sexual identity
That's
you are
right.
when you go to the grocery store and
it's 40% more.
you can't afford to feed your kids.
It's 40% more, and you can say that's lies and spewing lies. I went back and I looked at my, when you shop at Walmart, now they keep track of everything, and they have since COVID, because COVID made everybody start doing pickup.
Right.
Late 2019, the exact same cart now is in 2019 from my cart was 40% or 41 point something percent higher on the bill.
It's crazy.
And I heard somebody say this, and I agree with this 100%. While I personally, I can afford to pay 40% more, why should I have to?
You should.
And what about the people who can't?
Right. Which is a lot of people.
Right.
So I hope.
Yeah, the actual consumer economy was the decider, and I agree with you, Rob. It'd be nice if we'd get away from, all African Americans vote this way and all Hispanics vote that way, and
the assumption. That's an assumption.
People vote their pocketbooks.
That's right.
Yeah, and other issues, but they can you get a job? That applies to all of us, not just to what What was Kamala's? I heard this too. What was Kamala's economic development plan for Hispanic men? How are they going to get a job? Well, it's no different than the white men. Companies need to thrive in order to invest in hiring new employees. And when Coca-Cola just decides to expand because the economy is good, they hire 1,000 new people, let's say. Guess what? There's going to be white people, white women, Hispanic males, Hispanic females, black men, black women, gay people. It's going to be everybody.
And I heard this from several people, but this professor was, I listened to a lot of different news sources because I think you need to have a perspective. But this professor that was being interviewed on NPR said the reason that Trump won is because the average Republican voter was uneducated.
Oh, I love that one. I'm obviously not
sorry.
educated, right?
I mean,
please.
Yeah.
Is that education because you have a college degree or because you understand politics or you're involved in politics?
Right.
What do you mean by uneducated?
It means you didn't go to Harvard and you don't go to the right cocktail parties in Manhattan or in San Francisco.
Or the right protests.
Can we say elitist?
Or you'll talk about Hispanics without having a Hispanic on our panel right now. I mean, my gosh, that's,
Well, Lee, are you...
Wait a minute.
Wait
a minute. I'm looking at the screen and everybody's white. We can't continue.
Yeah, that's right. We can't
At
talk
the
about
end of this conversation.
All right. Well, speaking of white people, can I make a motion now that the meeting's been called to order? I make a motion that Harry is never allowed to discuss economics again.
I've been trying to get that done for years.
No, his rebuttal is always, no.
Right.
I can hear the frustration with Patrick Malone sometimes. He'll be like, Harry.
Yeah, it's my own fault when I introduce the subject. I need to stay away from the economy and economics. Because
Now, wait a minute. He's a Democrat, so he's educated, Patrick. Come on. Let's get real here.
Okay. All right. You want to hold him up as the model Democrat? I'm not sure.
Well,
that
he's a proud Democrat. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He's an independent, actually.
Oh, is he? Okay. Sorry, Harry.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to
He
call you
doesn't
out.
sound like an independent to me.
He's not a proud Democrat. That's why he's an independent.
Then he's a Bernie Sanders independent, which is not independent. So anyway.
Well,
And I thought, wait a minute, Rob. I thought we were getting away from identity politics.
that's right.
I'm so sorry. I beg your forgiveness. So, well, guys, you want to take the first break?
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the Morning Dish. Rob Moyer sitting in for Stephen, and Sherry Raines is sitting in for Packy. So
I'm glad you're getting blamed for the Stephen part.
Yeah, right. How did that happen? Well, I got a lot to get off my chest. I feel pent up after this election thing, so I'm so glad I'm here today.
And I actually felt a huge sense of relief yesterday morning when I got up, just because it's over. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm just done with all the back and forth.
I brought up Harry and economics right before the break for a reason. So, and I've said this before a couple months ago on air, that I felt like we were reliving Jimmy Carter's term, and we were we were so depressed. We had hostages taken in Iran, a failed military attempt to rescue them, just like the failed Afghanistan thing. We had gas lines. We were paying through the roof for gas, for mortgages, for credit cards. And there was this thing called consumer sentiment. And it applies to businesses too, right?
Right.
And along comes Ronald Reagan, and it was like a national rebirth. And everybody got this surge of patriotic feeling. We can lick this. And we did. And the economy turned around. The military turned around. And once again, we were proud Americans. And I feel like we're right at that point again today. And to Harry's mess about trying to explain what's going to happen under Trump, I think, households sit and say, gee, I really want to buy that boat. But I don't know, man. If Kamala wins, we could be in for four more years of
exactly. And I heard a lot of people even talking about moving their 401ks.
Yeah, right.
I mean, all kinds of really, big moves financially just to protect themselves because
they're scared to death, right? And so now they've got this confidence again in Donald Trump, and you saw it in the red wave. I mean, he won the entire blue wall. I didn't see that happening. I mean, I don't know about you guys.
Well, I was just telling Lee, I said, looking at the map, and you didn't have this years ago. You couldn't go online and look at an election map and see how much was red and how much was blue. But I encourage people to go look.
It's amazing.
Because however you voted, whatever you believe, evidently a large portion, and I think rural America pushed this one, a large portion of America wanted Trump back.
Well, when you look at that map, look at the states first, and you'll see that the only blue states are on the coast. But then what's really amazing is click on the county map across the whole country, and you'll see that only big cities are blue. The rest of us are red, red, red.
And I had multiple people talk to me the last couple of days, and there was a lot of question about electoral college. I think you should go research what that means, because without the electoral college, the urban areas, to my understanding, would elect our president.
Oh, every time. There has to be the electoral college.
Right.
Patrick, I know you agree with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's an essential part. I mean, that was one of the really brilliant things that our founding fathers dealt with. They didn't want the population centers. They didn't want urban to control the rest of the country. Well, they wanted balance.
Exactly. And that's back to my point about I really, really encourage people. There were a lot more people, I think, following and involved in this election in years past just because it was such a important election. And every election's important, presidential especially, but I really encourage people go back and research and educate yourself on what an electoral college is, what all this stuff means. I mean, Trump got the popular vote this time as well.
I was just going to say, this election's a little different because he did
But
get
I
the
hear that
popular
again
vote.
and again. It ought to be every person's vote counts. Well, it does. But without the electoral college, L.A. and New York would decide.
And Atlanta, yeah.
Who your president is.
Absolutely. We would have no say here in Blairsville, and little states like Rhode Island would have no say, right? So,
well, the Electoral College is a reflection of what Congress looks like.
Right.
Right.
I mean, and that's what a representative republic is all about.
That's right.
I mean, we keep talking about, don't let democracy die. We're not a democracy. We're a representative republic.
We're a republic. That's
We're
right.
not run by the mob. Okay.
Well, that depends on what you
I was
look at the
gonna
last
say.
few years. I mean, look at
Well,
Portland,
that's-
Oregon.
Right.
Yeah. That some parts of the country appear to be that.
We're going to set up our own little empire here. You can't come in.
Let's make the radio station the capital right here.
When all that was happening, like on the upper West Coast, I thought really about how that would be reacted to in Cherokee County, North Carolina, or over here in North Georgia.
Yeah.
They'd be run out on a rail within the first 10
yes.
minutes.
I can
mean,
see
come on.
Sheriff
be-
Mac Mason
would
now
be-
dealing with that. I mean, come on, guys.
Intolerance at its best would be on display. Right?
Yeah.
Don't bring that stuff to our part of the world.
No. Well, that's not the way to get
One
things
of-
accomplished anyway.
One of the things I appreciate your feel-good kind of message there right now, but one of the things that I think is going to be a challenge is President-elect Trump has got a lot of promises out there.
Yep.
He needs to have some fulfilled right away.
He will.
He's going to have 2 years, Patrick. You know that. In 2 years when the House seats become on the block again. He'll probably lose his majority if he's not going to lose it before this is over. So he's got 2 years to
I don't
to
think he
keep his
gets.
promises.
I don't think he gets 2 years. I think he gets 6 months for something like the tax on Social Security or the tax on tips or the deportation start or something. Something of the many things that he's promised.
Agreed. I think that the tax on tips, I think that's a mistake.
I do
I'm
too.
sorry. I mean, Social Security, I can roll with that. I believe. I mean, because I've been working since I was 14 years old. So
Right.
yeah, that'd be great. Not to, if there's even any Social Security left. But I worked for tips for many years. People maybe
Right.
don't know that, but for many years I worked for tips. I didn't have a problem paying taxes on my tips.
Yeah, it's income, and
You know.
you get a lot of cash tips, and you probably didn't pay
And
taxes
most
on all
people
of them anyway.
don't report all
So,
that. They don't. So
Yeah, but Patrick, I think one thing you're forgetting is the executive order, right? So on day one, he can reinstate all of those immigration policies, like remain in Mexico. He can do that without Congress. He can open up drilling. And I think the biggest thing he's going to do for the economy is to start slashing regulations again. And business owners care more about that than they do even a tax break, which has to go through Congress. But the
Yeah, but
regulations,
it's gotta translate to his voters. I mean, it's one thing for businesses to be happy to operate under less regulations, but that does not translate to the average voter out
it
there.
does because it lowers prices. It's the most effective way to lower
Well,
prices.
But then there's the
And
argument
gas.
about then there's the argument
you're
about
making the
tariffs.
assumption you're making the assumption that the business owner is going to lower the prices if the regulations are repealed or
Well,
taken
that's
out.
the free market usually makes that stuff work itself out because if the competitor lowers prices, Pepsi lowers prices, then Coke has to too, right? So
Oh
this
yeah,
is the way it's
yeah,
always
yeah.
worked.
But
But he
but
can
if
get a lot
nobody
done that way.
goes first, if everybody says, "Hey, this is good, we got another penny on the bottom line," then you don't get that trickle down. So
I have more faith
it-
in the free market than you do, Patrick, I guess.
This
all
is
right.
a wait and see thing. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I mean, like his tariffs. I mean, I hear a lot of retailers screaming about him amping up the tariffs, and I think it could be painful for a couple of years. But, and I'm not an economist, so I may be saying something stupid here, but I would think if we tariff these other countries heavily, like Ford going to Mexico, and I'm going to tariff you 100%.
Right.
We tariff these other companies. It's going to eventually have to bring manufacturing back to this country to make things work.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole goal, is to bring things back to our country. I'm not saying
Well-
we should not operate on a world market. I'm not saying that. But we should not be allowing our enemies,
It's a national security issue. I was just going to
exactly, our enemies to bring product in here, and they just don't have to pay anything
say
to
that.
do it.
We go to war with China right now, we're reliant on China for half our prescription medications.
Right.
That's
and
not gonna
medical
turn out
supplies
well.
in general.
Yeah. And computer chips
I
and
mean,
all kinds of things.
I was listening to
So-
something this morning. This is something simple. IV bags. Everybody knows what an IV
Sure.
bag is, right?
Saved my life
But
many times.
Baxter is the biggest distributor of IV bags. Guess where they were at? They were right in the path of Hurricane Helene,
Okay.
and they're finally bringing production back up. But hospitals across the entire country have an IV bag shortage because of one plant
Right.
that was hit by a storm.
Now imagine if that plant was in China and we go to war with China.
Mm-hmm.
It's a national security issue. So,
But
tariffs-
isn't that free trade part of the reason that we're not going to a real war with China?
well, it's a reason why you hope we don't, because it will hurt both of us. There's no doubt about that.
That's exactly right. So
Kind of
you
mutual
start
assured
putting
destruction.
tariffs on that and make that trade go away. What's the barrier to attacking?
Well, but there's some things, Patrick, that need to come back home, like medications. I mean, that's a mission critical thing. If we keep half of it keeps me alive. If
Well,
I
why
couldn't
shouldn't we
get my
continue to
meds-
buy meds from China? We're buying fentanyl from them. I mean,
Well,
we're just
yeah,
streaming in fentanyl,
Well,
and that's where it's being produced.
Steven's
mean-
the biggest customer, right?
Is that why he's out this week?
That's why he's out, yeah.
why do we outsource medication to China?
It's cheaper to
Medication
make.
production.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper to
Probably
make
got
it.
some 5-year-old making 5 cents a day to make it. I don't know. I
Right.
mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't buy from China. I'm not saying we should get off the world market. All I'm saying is that shouldn't be our total reliance. We should have
Can't be.
a backup. We should
Yes.
we
Well,
should be something.
That's got to go back to lightening up on the business regulations, because that's
Right.
the reason
Agreed.
we outsource that stuff.
Yep.
because that is the biggest cost driver in the economy right now for business is the regulations that they have to follow.
Right. I don't think I've ever done this show so seriously. This is almost depressing. Today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't have Steven to pick on and him making stupid comments.
You can still pick on Steven. It's okay. I just did, right?
Speaking of which, we probably better jump to a break.
Welcome back. Thursday edition of the Morning Dish with Rob and Sherry, and we're having an intelligent conversation, and it must be working because because there aren't any text messages complaining about us.
Maybe
coming
nobody's
in.
listening.
We're not
They
doing
just
something right.
just turned it
Well,
off.
they
Steven
they
wasn't
could have
here.
shut it off. That's true.
They
I
turned
didn't
it
think of
off.
that one.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I do have something fun to talk about real quick, and I think Rob has something he needs to talk about. But on the last portion of the show, we're going to give away tickets to the Clay Walker concert. He's going to be over at the Georgia Mountain Fairground and Anderson Music Hall tomorrow night, Friday, November 8th. And we're going to give away, how many tickets we got? 2? 1? How many we got? I think we got a pair of tickets that we're going to give away on that. So if Mr. Malone would come up with a good question, I'll let you pick the subject.
I got you covered.
All right, and we'll ask that in the next part of the show. So go ahead.
So tell us about the flags, Rob.
That's where I was going.
That's what you got to talk about, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you for plugging that earlier with Harry. So today is the first official flag raising at the Appalachian Veterans Memorial Park, and we're really excited about it. It's today at 11 at the park, obviously, which is inside of Meeks Park on the upper level, not far from the pool. So it's at 11. The public is invited. We're going to have bagpipes and a rifle salute.
And y'all done a great job on that. That looks amazing over there.
It really does,
really
doesn't it?
does.
And I can't wait to finish it. We still have a ways to go. You guys got one or two little details wrong this morning, Patrick. The bricks that have been sold are not going to be put on as a walkway. It's going to actually be a wall. And we did that so people aren't walking on the bricks and they don't get dirty and all that kind of stuff. And you don't have to bend over to really look at it. You'll be able
That's a good idea.
to see it at eye level height. And it's going to be a wall at the back of the flags. So as you come in from the parking lot, you'll walk down a walkway onto the 60-foot compass rose, which is beautiful. You'll have the monuments to each branch of service and then the flag for each branch of service. And behind that will be this brick wall with all the bricks. And you can buy a brick at theveteranspark.org. It's theveteranspark.org. Makes a great Christmas present for dad, brother, son, daughter, wife, whoever served in the military. They're always too humble to buy their own brick, but they sure love it when somebody else gets one for them.
Right.
And I'm going to buy 2 bricks. Well, I can't. I just gave
Now,
away
what are the
my
rules?
wife's Christmas
What are the
present.
rules? Do they have to be a veteran from Union County?
Nope, just any veteran
Any
is
veteran,
fine. Yep,
any branch of
anywhere,
service.
any
Okay.
branch of service, any veteran. You didn't have to be in combat. You didn't have to be wounded or died. Anything like
Well,
that.
I just know sometimes within a county there'll be some rules like that. Veteran
No.
has to be from that county or have
Well,
lived in that county.
That's a great point, Sherry. We named it Appalachian Veterans Memorial Park because we're building it for the whole North Georgia and Western North Carolina region. So it's not just the Blairsville Veterans Memorial Park or Union County. And we're building a size and a scope that it is big enough to be for the
Expand.
whole region. And we think it'll be a tourist destination for veterans, within a reasonable radius from us. But it's really nice. And raising the flags today means the park is open and we're officially doing what we're there to do, which is honoring everybody that's ever
Well, tell
served.
people again how they can go buy a brick because I'm going to buy one for both my parents were. My dad was Navy and my mother was Army during Vietnam. So
Awesome. So you just go to theveteranspark.org, theveteranspark.org, click on Buy a Brick, and it'll take you to a little design page. And you have 3 lines of text, and you can customize the fonts. You can add symbols like the Navy symbol or the Marine Corps logo or American flag, a cross,
nice.
whatever you want to do. It's your brick. You design it the way you want. And once you're happy with it, click the buy button. And then if you are going to buy it for a present, just remember the brick comes to us, not to you.
Right.
So print out the page where you bought it, put it in a nice Christmas card, and give it that way. And then you'll be able to take your loved one not too far down the road to be able to come look at the brick in person. Yeah.
Nice. So this would be an area where you could do all kinds of events as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're planning. It's got plenty of parking. It's flat level, so older folks won't have a hard time getting there.
Right.
We'll never do Memorial Day there because the Memorial Park in Blairsville is an awesome memorial project that was done that honors the combat dead from Union County, and
Right.
that's sacred ground. That
Absolutely.
memorial is sacred ground. We're not trying to compete
Right.
in any way, shape, or form with them. So Memorial Day will always be celebrated there. But we might be able to do things like a 9/11 Day celebration or Veterans
absolutely.
Day, Marine Corps birthday.
Well, I'm also thinking
you
about
know.
the different veteran organizations that may want to utilize that area. Is that something they could do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And they're all keyed into this project.
Absolutely.
So, and
Good.
eventually, phase 3 of this project will be a meandering walkway around what we've already built where the VSOs will have their own little monuments honoring the VFW or the wounded Vietnam vets or whatever group it is, Navy Seabees. And the idea is that the regional VFW offices can band together, build a monument to the VFW, and have plaques
Right.
honoring
right.
each. They call it not a fort, post.
The post,
Each VFW post, things like that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next phase of this.
A lot of work went
Yeah,
into that.
it's a great addition to Meeks Park there up on the hill. So and it just adds to the overall quality of the park.
And I'd be really remiss if I didn't thank Commissioner Lamar Paris for making this possible because
Absolutely.
he granted us almost an acre of land in Meeks Park to do this with. And
Is he going to be out there today for the
yes,
flag
he
raising?
is.
Absolutely.
So yeah, come shake his hand and thank him for everything he's done
Yep.
over the last 24 years. It's been a lot.
Yeah, I hadn't
And-
realized until yesterday when I heard the news that 24 years he's been serving this county.
I made a comment at his viewing event election night that no matter what happened in this election, he and Dinah should be really proud. They've left a long-lasting impact on our county that will be here for generations. I mean, from the farmers market to Meeks Park to the horse arena to pickleball to the quality of roads, the highly trained fire department, the sheriff's office. I could go on and on.
Well, I was going to say,
he's
it breaks
made his
my
mark.
heart for Union County because this is a tremendous loss. But maybe he can finally kick back and relax.
Well,
a
he
little bit.
deserves it.
He-
There's no
he
doubt
truly
about
does.
that.
He truly does because I'm sure that job doesn't pay that much, and it was a lot.
You know what I hope he keeps doing is every time it snows, he goes out and rides around all the roads, even up to
Yeah.
Blood Mountain, and he sends out pictures on Facebook so we know if it's safe to go somewhere. So Lamar, even retired, you can keep that up. Hey, Puddin's telling me we got a caller.
Let the poor man sleep in on the snowy morning, for God's sake.
All right, then Harold Collins, I expect you out there early in the morning in the snow. Puddin's
There you
throwing
go.
stuff at me, Patrick. We got a caller. Who
We
got,
do.
Puddin'?
We got
All
Frank.
right.
Who, Frank?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Frank, what's going on this morning, buddy?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Frank. I'm with the Post 96 American Legion over here on 141. And two things. The first one, most important, is the fact that this Saturday we're having an open house to reach out to the newer veterans who, let's just say, aren't on leisure time, and they can come to our Monday morning 9 a.m. meetings. We're going to have a special open house and something to eat and drink and meet the folks and tell you what the Legion can do for you
All right.
for veterans in the area. So that's going to be from 10 to 2 this Saturday.
And that's the American Legion Post over in Murphy, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we're on 141 just north of the intersection
Right.
with Old 64 there. So
Just past Julie's, just a little ways past Julie's.
I
Yep.
wasn't sure if I could put a pitch in like that. But
Well,
Absolutely.
no. I mean, everybody
Legion,
identifies
Illinois.
that restaurant, so it's over there in Murphy, North Carolina.
Thank you for your service,
right.
Frank.
So
Are you going to come join us for the flag raising today at 11?
If I can get on over there, I will, and because I'm part of the Legion Post. But the second thing is I heard somebody say something about somber earlier this morning. This is day 2 that you can say with a smile who the president-elect of the United States of America is.
That's true.
I think I was referring to Harry Bond's mood, is what I was referring.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we got to change that mood from a somber mood to everyone get upbeat, get involved, and stay on your representatives to make sure they follow through this time.
You got that right, Frank. Well, thanks for calling in. I hope to see you at 11 today, okay?
All right, you guys take care, and if you have the opportunity to put this message out about the open house on Saturday, maybe later on when guys are off work that may still be out there working.
So tell
I'd
me real quick
appreciate it.
again, you're going to have an open house this Saturday at Post 96 over on 141.
Correct. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
All right. I'll make sure that Lee knows about that, okay?
All right. We appreciate it.
Wait,
Thank
you're
you very
putting Puddin'
much
in
because-
charge of this?
Well, I don't call him Puddin' because I don't know how that started. That's a Stephen Phillips
Well, I'm supposed to be Steven today,
/
so I'm
Donald
calling
Trump
him Puddin'.
insult.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Frank. We'll make sure they know about it.
Have a good day, Frank.
All right. Take care, folks, and thank you very much. I listen to your show all the time. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, guys, it's about time for that last break. Patrick, did you come up with a tricky question? We're giving
We've
away
got a
clay.
question. I'll save it until after the break. You got the Thursday edition of the Morning Dish with Rob Moyer and Sherry Rains. Sherry, what are we giving away?
We are giving away tickets to the Clay Walker concert happening tomorrow night at the Georgia Mountain Fairground, Anderson Music Hall. I think it's at 7 p.m. So we got 2 tickets to give away, and you just got to answer a question from Patrick.
All right. The question is, in our solar system, which planet rotates clockwise?
Jeez, really?
Yeah. Come on. We just had the lady from the Rollins Planetarium on the
I
show,
heard
so I thought
that.
this was a good one.
I need to go to the planetarium. I haven't been. Hey, I also want to mention this portion of the show is brought to our favorite place to go buy grits, Logan Turnpike Mill. I'm telling you what, everything they sell is good.
I'm not a grits guy, but their pancake mix
Oh
is
my
to
gosh!
die for.
I mean, they ship all over the world, from what I understand.
Really?
We're still Stephen's still shipping stuff to Tupelo, Mississippi, to Paul Thorne. But you can catch them. If you're local, just drive on down to downtown Blairsville and grab you something from Logan Turnpike Mill. You will not regret it. Absolutely the best stuff I've ever had. You can give them a call at 706-745-5735.
All right, Patrick, ask that question one more time. That was a complicated question. My brain hurts.
In our solar system, which planet rotates clockwise?
Clockwise.
Is it the orange planet?
The Orange Man
The
planet.
orange man?
No. It has nothing to do with Orange Man, but it does have to do with gender.
Do we have somebody?
Oh, who we got, Puddin'?
We do. We got Steve Cluchet.
Hey, Steve. How are
Hey, Steve,
you?
how are you this
I'm
morning?
good. How are you?
Good.
I'm good.
Do you know which planet rotates clockwise?
Well, I have to make up for the Eiffel Tower answer I gave the other day about being in the United States. So, yes, I think the answer is Venus.
You are correct.
All right.
And by the way, Steve, there is an Eiffel Tower in Texas. Paris, Texas has a small Eiffel Tower.
There's one
so you're not
near-
totally wrong.
There's one near Richmond, Virginia,
There you
too,
go.
at an amusement
There
park
you go.
called King's Dominion.
I think there's
Been
one
there.
in Vegas, too.
Yeah, there is.
There's one in
Okay.
Vegas.
Yeah, there
Yep.
is.
Okay. All right. Well, great.
Well, congratulations, Stephen. I hope you enjoy the show. It should be good.
The tickets should be will call. Is that correct? Yeah, the tickets will be at the gate for you. We'll send
Thank
them
you
your
so
name.
much.
You're so welcome.
All right, Patrick, what else did you have on your list today? We're winding down here.
What causes
Yeah,
that,
that-
Patrick? The different rotation of the planet, to go clockwise or counterclockwise? What creates that? Is it a gravitational thing
It
or
must
what?
be.
It-
But
That is the next trivia question.
Oh,
I'll have to look it up. I don't know the answer to that one.
oh, the truth. The truth will
I
out.
knew he would know
And I
that.
can't Google. My fingers don't Google fast enough to just give you the answer right
yeah,
away. But I'll research that for you. So
Well, we appreciate
yeah.
that. We
Well,
appreciate
let's see
that.
what else is going on. Today is Marcus Luttrell's birthday. Do you know who Marcus
the
Luttrell
lone
is?
survivor. Yes, of course.
The Lone Survivor. Yeah, that movie was about his war escapades. So,
Well, let me
and
tell
there
you.
was something else. Go ahead.
Let me just say, if you haven't read the book, read his book, The Lone Survivor, and if you don't cry at the end, there's really something wrong with you, because the part of the story that doesn't get told very well in the movie is how the community came around from, and the Navy SEAL community too came from all over to build him a house and support his family while he was missing and feed them. They had hundreds of people camped out in the front yard, and barbecue companies were coming and donating the sandwiches and stuff. And then to make sure that Marcus and his family were okay when he got home. What a heartwarming end to an amazing story. So that's the way we should support our veterans. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a good
Absolutely.
point. This close to Veterans Day, I mean, we talk a lot about the veterans close to holidays revolving around them.
Right.
But year round, there are so many people suffering. I've got 3 children that were in the military. 2 of them one of them's a combat vet. And just the fight that they've had to go through to get their rights has
Yeah.
been disheartening, to say the least.
It is. And I
Veterans Day is coming up next Monday.
Correct.
Am I correct?
Yes,
yeah.
you are.
And I was just noticing the Veterans Day celebrations actually started yesterday in Cherokee County schools.
That's right.
There were Martins Creek and Murphy Elementary had a celebration yesterday. Peachtree Elementary has celebrations today, and most of the other schools have got them on Friday. So if you're a veteran over there in Cherokee County, go to the Cherokee Schools website, because there are a whole lineup of events with free breakfasts and recognition ceremonies is on their website.
And I've got to throw a big shout out to Cherokee County Schools for that. They have worked very hard for years now to do events that honor the veterans.
Union County does too.
It's been very important, and it's very educational and important that these kids understand
Absolutely.
what this is about. So I appreciate them for doing that. And again, I want to mention, sorry, we had a caller earlier. They're doing an open house over at American Legion Post 96 on Highway 141 in Murphy on this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you're a veteran or veteran's family member, swing by there and let them welcome you.
Yep. And the younger folks, the younger vets, you guys need to get involved in these groups.
And that's exactly, we just did the airport event, with the welcome home event for
Yeah,
our veterans a few weeks ago over in Cherokee County at the airport. And that's the thing. I was talking to several of the veterans organizations. I'm friends with the Veterans Service Officer, Dana Pash, who does a tremendous job. But the younger veterans do not have time or interest. So a lot of these organizations are on the verge of just dying out.
They really are.
Literally.
I know.
And so I would encourage, if you're a younger veteran from the last 20, 30 years, go and at least lend some support to these organizations, because they've done tremendous work.
And it helps the veteran. I
Yep.
mean, because nobody knows
does.
what they've been through except each other.
That's right.
And we have put so many people into combat since 9/11, which has been 23 years
like the
now,
Hump 22.
right?
You look at the
No,
suicide
15
rate.
years.
You look at the suicide rate for
Yeah,
veterans.
That's right.
And it's a lot of the younger ones. I mean, we've seen it over and over and over again. Everybody knows somebody who's dealt with this. If you need someone to talk to, these are the people you can talk to.
That's right. I haven't been there. Those guys have. So anyway, well, that was a somber note.
I
It's
know.
a somber show.
Speaking of
Wow.
somber,
Good point. And
Well-
many of the Union County and Towns counties, their celebrations will be on Monday. Their veteran celebrations,
Okay.
I believe, Union County is over at the football field, and Towns County is, I believe, is at the Recreation Foster Park.
Yep, and we started
We'll,
a new
we'll
veterans.
check on that. Give you definitive information tomorrow.
We started a new Veterans Day lunch in Blairsville. I guess 3 years ago now.
Yep.
And that's been sold out every year. It's free, as it's not sold out, but no room left. So that's been a big hit, and that's going to be on Monday as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
And another thing about coming to these events, I talk to a lot of veterans. I used to try to attend all the meetings. I can't really do it anymore. But like at the air show event, there's so many of those folks that really don't know where to go get help.
Right.
They don't know. And we had a huge stand down area. I mean, Dana Pash, I mentioned her a while ago. She's got veterans from North Georgia. She will help any veteran. It doesn't matter what county you live in. You can go see her, and she will sit you down, and she'll do her best to help you. And I'm pretty sure that's the case with most veteran service officers in most counties.
Right.
So, I mean, there's help there. Going to some of these events will get you in touch with people that can point you in the right direction.
Yep, I agree. So, and
that issue about getting involved, you mentioned it earlier with the turnout of the votes and the number of people that got involved in casting a vote in our area. They need to stay involved. There's
That's right.
a lot of volunteer organizations that, as you said, are on the verge of dying
That's
out
right.
because
I think
the
I'm
younger
getting a hand
folks are
signal
not
from
joining and getting involved.
Lee. What's going on, Lee?
Yeah, it's tomorrow, guys. No Stephen Phillips, but I'll be back. Sherry, you going to be with me?
I don't know. I don't think you
She'll-
need me. You got
oh, boy.
Packy. You got
All right,
Packy.
me and Packy tomorrow, guys. And Puddin will be here, right, Puddin? We'll see you
I'll be
guys
here.
Well,
tomorrow.
thank you, guys.